Don't travel to Russia if you don't know these 5 things. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Afro Lev here, roaring truths to preserve your pretty voice. Today we are in Moscow, and as you can see, it is autumn, the sky is cloudy, and the leaves are falling down. Now, you have probably clicked on this video because you want to travel to Russia. Stick around because the video has everything you need, and today we are focusing on 5 things that you need to travel to Russia. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. The first thing that you need, of course, is a visa. For some countries, there is the leniency with the electronic visa. You don't even have to go to the actual embassy. You simply get an electronic visa online, and it is a very easy task. But this is only specifically for countries that are allies of Russia, for example, China. For the rest of you, you would need a tourist visa or a private visa, which is basically a visa that is given to you when a Russian citizen invites you to travel or live in the country. I suggest getting a Russian wife. Jokes aside, there are many other visas that can actually help you to get to Russia, including a work visa or a student visa, but we will talk about that in later videos. On to number 2. Now on to actually entering the country. How do you get to Russia? I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the sanctions that have been imposed, so it would be very useful to understand how to actually get into Russia. How do you get into the country? Now the answer is simple. If you are coming from an African country, the safest bet is to come through Ethiopia, as there are direct flights from Ethiopia to Moscow. If you're coming from the West, there are no direct flights to Moscow. So you would either have to travel to Turkey in Istanbul, which I would suppose would be the best bet for you, or you could just go to Estonia, which is a little bit more complicated. I would suggest going to Turkey and then taking a direct flight to Moscow. And number 3, border control. From my personal experience, you might be held up at the border, possibly for 1 hour, 2 hours, even 3, because there are some questions they may ask you when you come into the country. For example, the reason for your stay, or possibly other things that involve your visa. I would recommend coming the lawful way and do not cut any corners, because they do an in-depth background check to ensure that you are there for the reason that you said you are. And do not come with over $10,000 unless you declare it. There is a limit to the amount of foreign currency that you can bring into the country. You do not want to be held up at the border because you cannot dispose of or actually transfer that money into the local currency. There is a law which says that you have to declare the money. Right, bringing us over to number 4, money exchange. You come into Russia, you have a lot of money, and you want to transfer it into the local currency. You'd like to exchange it. Now, a lot of people say that it is impossible. This is not true. You can do it at the airport. The exchange rate might not be so good, but you can also do it at various other banks. You can exchange dollars, euros, yen, British pounds, you name it. You should be okay with any foreign currency that you bring in. Last but not least, number 5. You need to be aware that you cannot use your Visa cards or your MasterCards in Russia. Reason being that they have turned off SWIFT. Who? The West, of course. Due to Russia being sanctioned, there is no usage of international cards or visas. But if you are Chinese, WeChat or Alipay would work, as well as if you have a UnionPay card, that could also work. I recommend bringing cash and exchanging, as I have mentioned before, because your card is basically rendered useless when you land on Russian soil. And here is a bonus tip for you. If you are traveling or commuting around Moscow, you need this guy. This is a troika, and it is used for the Moscow metro and the buses. This is a good way to save money, as if you deposit it, you won't be spending a copious amount of money on the transportation to areas that might be very close. I recommend getting one of these and depositing a considerable amount of money into it, and you will actually save a lot of money. I know I know, that is a lot of information to absorb. Luckily, if you are still not sure about all of the information that I have given you, or possibly you want to ask more because you would love to travel to Russia or you'd like to move to Russia, I am in partnership with Braiden Consulting Company, and they basically have the best and most professional lawyer company in Russia. So if you're looking to travel to Russia or to simply live in Russia, you can head over to the link in my description. There is a consultation form. And by the way, the consultation is absolutely free, and you will receive the best advice and all the information you require. And if you sign up with the consultation form, which is in the link in my description, you will receive a 10% discount on any of the visas that you apply for. All right, guys, I have got to head out. It's getting absolutely cold. Winter is definitely coming. If you guys have any questions, you can also add me on Telegram. My link to my account is also in the description. All right, ciao.